Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Drums and Drams. My name's Cameron and today we've got another Scotch Sunday whiskey review on the channel. In today's episode, I'm gonna be taking a look at the Deanston Virgin Oak, bottled at 46.3% ABV or 92.6 proof. It's non-chill filtered, which is fantastic, non-age stated, which is maybe a little less great, but it's an affordable, mainstay, mainstream, available product on the market today. And so we don't get an age statement, but we do get a lot of other really nice things on paper, especially that proof, 92.6. That's a really nice proof for kind of an entry-level bottle like this to be bottled at. It is a virgin oak product, so you can kind of already start to set up your expectations for maybe some sweeter notes coming out of the glass here. For many years, folks have said that I need to pick one of these up and review it on the channel, so I feel like I'm a few years late on this, but I finally have a bottle. I've had a few pours of it, and I feel like I'm at a point now where I can make this review and do it in sort of an accurate way. So on the nose now, Deanston Virgin Oak, let's see what we get. Yeah, look, virgin oak, tons of sweet notes. It all kind of tracks here on the nose. This is like sugar cookies, vanilla icing, some honey notes in here as well. A little bit of fruitiness, but in this case, it's not bright, sour, tangy summer fruits. This is more of like candied orange type notes. Really everything that I'm getting first impression wise on this is super, super sweet. All of that is coming from those virgin oak casks. And it's delivered pretty nicely on the nose. The ABV again is great. For me, this is not necessarily my go-to flavor profile for a Scotch. I like a little more, sherry finishes or wine finishes, some other kind of influence. And virgin oak always feels a little bit sweet, to a degree that I'm not a big fan of, I guess. I'm gonna try to keep that in the back of my mind and not let that totally cloud my review, because I think a lot of folks on the nose here, if they're just starting to get into Scotch or they want something refreshing, maybe like a summer type pour, this is a great one because it does have all that sweetness. Another quick nosing here, and then we'll go to the palate. Just below all of those sweeter notes, you do get a nice little bit of spice in here as well. It's nothing particularly aromatic. It's just kind of like a general oak spice that helps to punctuate some of that sweetness and cut through it just a little bit. I did say that there's candied orange notes in here, but there is actually maybe something, maybe like a green apple note in the background with a teeny bit of a crispness or a tanginess to it. So I do appreciate that, but by and large, this is just very, very sweet whiskey. Let's go to the palate now, cheers. Big waves of honey on the palate here, and actually a little bit of a ginger character, which I was not picking up on the nose. So you get a lot of sweetness on this, but there is enough spice, and particularly that ginger note, that is adding almost a little bit of tangy spice, if that makes sense. Like pickled ginger you get with sushi, right? It has kind of that spicy aggressiveness to the ginger notes, and I kind of like it. So it adds another dimension to this whiskey, which I think it really needs. I think I actually like the palate of this whiskey more than I like the nose. The nose is all sweet sugar cookie, intense cask influence, and the palate still has some base spirit to it. Like the distillery character is still there, even though you do get a lot of sweetness. There's enough other stuff going on the palate to keep this thing interesting and, in my opinion, a little bit more balanced in the nose. Let's go back for a second sip. More vanilla notes on this now. It is starting to sweeten up even more. I think by and large, this is a recommendation. Like I would suggest that folks pick one of these up if you're looking for something a little bit sweeter. But I do want to address one thing, which is that a lot of people talk about virgin oak products like this as being great transition bottles for American whiskey, especially bourbon drinkers that are looking to get into Scotch. Maybe a virgin oak product is something that's more relatable to their palates because you're dealing with new oak. I would push back a little bit on that because I think the sweetness in here is so vastly different than bourbon corn sweetness. Here it's all malted barley, of course, and then it's so much of this cask influence, and those casks aren't providing the same kind of sweetness, in my opinion, that they do when you put bourbon in them, right? And so for me, I feel like this actually might be more of a shock to some folks' palates who are coming from the American whiskey side of things. And I would love to know what you think in the comments section of this video. Please let me know. Is this a transition bottle in your mind for American whiskey drinkers, or is it something that gets touted as such, similarly to the Glenfiddich 14 year, that blue tube? That's like another American oak type product. Is this really a transitional bottle, or is this something that for a Scotch drinker is just a sweeter option, or maybe even an option that's good for someone who doesn't drink whiskey at all, and this could be their first jump into the into the whiskey pool or whatever, because it does have so much sweetness to it. I think I'm more in that category. I think this is more of a bottle that just people who drink spirits but not whiskey could jump into Scotch here, as opposed to American whiskey drinkers transitioning over. So I know that's, maybe thinking a little too much into this, but I'm trying to put this in a sort of context beyond just, hey, it's cheap, it's affordable, it's available, pick one up if you want something sweet. Maybe there's something more to this, and I think that something more, for me at least, is an introductory bottle to someone who's looking to get into Scotch, not necessarily from the American whiskey side. It's not totally my style. I'm gonna continue to say that, but I think it's going to be a lot of people's style that they would enjoy. So cheers, that's gonna do it. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon. Cheers, and I'll see you next time here on Drums and Drams.